Hey guys, Rexlent here. Welcome to another video, this time for HIYUKI. So I'll go straight into it. HIYUKI is the new Ice DPS now for Wuwa. Now I'll give you the rotation for her most ideal team, which is Linne, Chisa, and HIYUKI. Alright, so just follow the cheat sheet for this combo. I'll split it into two parts. Just a refresher if you don't know how to play Chisa and Linne. So you start with Chisa first. Since Chisa is going to be the first character, we're going to need to build up her concerto for a bit. So you start with 4 basic attack. So start with Chisa. 1, 2, 3, 4. E skill. Echo and ultimate. 2 basic attack. E skill again. And then just hold basic all the way. So that's the end of Chisa's point. And then switch to Linne. Linne in. E skill. Out. Then hold basic all the way. Release, jump 3 times. 1, 2, 3, drop, echo. And then next part will be HIYUKI. So now we're gonna pretend that we finished the earlier 2 rotation and then we switch to HIYUKI. So this is what's gonna happen. HIYUKI in, straight away basic attack. Hold basic. And then ultimate will be ready, like that. Press ultimate. Straight away, use resonance skill 2 times. 1, 2, and then spam basic all the way and your echo. Once you see the gauge is full, dodge and basic 3 times. And then hold basic again for this arc slash. And then hold ultimate. That's it. Very, very easy. Very simple to play. She just has a lot of technicalities, but then when it comes to rotation, it's very simple. Now let's talk about the rest of her kit. So HIYUKI has 2 forms, as you can see, her normal form and her frost form, the one where she goes completely ice mode. So during her normal form, her forte is split into 3 gauges, and you fill the gauge simply by either doing an intro. Intro gives 2 gauges right away, or the 3rd hit of her basic attack. So 1, 2, 3, like this. Or after you do her resonance skill and then you follow up with basic attack, it's gonna give 2 gauges right away. So you press E. And then basic attack. So now she has 3 gauges. And then how to activate the rest of it. You see now left click is shining. So just do heavy attack and she's gonna shoot her bow. And then her first ultimate will be ready after you fulfill this condition. So once you press the first ultimate, it's gonna stay in her white form all the way. So base form is very simple. It's just 1, 2, 3 combo. Normal plunge attack. Like that. That's it. And then resonance skill. And then full gauge, and then shoot the bow. So when you're shooting the bow, there's also a bit of AoE and also iframe. And let me illustrate the intro, what happens when you intro. So intro HIYUKI, straight away 2 gauges, and then followed by basic. And then she gets 3 bars right away. So this is how you actually play her. Very easy. Like once you come in, straight away basic attack, and then you can straight away heavy attack to activate the first ultimate, like that. So that concludes the base form. Very, very simple. Now let's talk about the second form, the first ultimate form. Now, during the first ultimate form, you can see that the forte gauge is changed. Now it's a whole sword bar. And this sword bar will fill whenever you attack enemies with basic attack or resonance skill. Like that. So there's no enemy right now, so they're not building up the gauge. But you can see that every 1/3 of the gauge, it's going to give a symbol down here. So what this symbol does is that it's going to give her EI/EI, which is this. EI slash, not lie. It's IAI, not LAI. So that's EI slash. So the whole point of her second form to achieve the full ultimate is that when you get a full gauge from using her resonance skill and basic attack, you're supposed to convert all of it into 3 EI slashes in total. And then you can activate her full ultimate. This doesn't have to be done in succession as long as you do 3 in total. So how to activate EI? Whenever you do an attack, you see how dodge is available for 2 seconds, like this. So you press dodge after any attack. She goes to into EI. And then you press basic to activate it. So if you have more than one EI sigil here, you can chain the EI attacks by simply pressing basic again and again. So like this, I'm going to attack once and go to EI. Dodge, EI. And now I'm going to spam basic. So EI, 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 EI slash, like this. See how once I do all 3, the gauge gets transformed to this. So now when it's all shiny again, you just press heavy attack again, one more time, heavy attack. She's gonna do this big arc slash, and then you just press and hold ultimate. And then she reverts to her base form again. Now, some additional footnotes about her second form. You can press and hold basic normally, and she goes into this EI stance. And then when you release, it's gonna be an iframe. So it's good for very cool parries. It's gonna drain stamina when you hold this, and then you just release. See, like that. Very, very cool. So just press and hold basic, and you'll get this EI stance. Like that. Apart from that, E skill has 2 charges, resonance skill. The first time you press it, you will go up. And then if you press basic, you're gonna do 2 rounds of sword wave. And then you go down. If you jump and press E skill, it's gonna be a slam. So see, 1, 2, 3, E skill, slam. So it's up to you if you wanna chain her combo and make it look stylish. You can mix it up with like pressing E skill twice, or you can press E skill and then do a bit of combo and then finish it with E skill again. Or just simply jumping will also be a sword wave. Her normal mid-air attack in this form is sword wave, so you jump. See? So 2 rounds of sword wave. Like this, 1, 2. Press it one more time, it'll be a plunge. You can also do EI slash in mid-air, so sword wave, and then I dodge. See, air, EI slash. Like that. Just to keep in mind that when your gauge is ready for the big heavy attack, you can't use your EI stance counter, the one where you hold basic, for obvious reasons, because now if you do heavy attack, hold basic, it's gonna be this attack. So this is just for styling purposes, like if you want to style, just be mindful of this. Another thing to note is that once your big enhanced heavy is ready on second form, when you do this big arc slash, it's gonna give her 1 stack of buff that is used for her ultimate. Notice how when you tap and hold ultimate, she charges. And then there's a ping. She's gonna consume her stack that you got from that arc slash. Up to 3 stacks. You can just tap ultimate instead of holding. Tapping ultimate will not consume that buff. So what I mean is, watch the buffs down here. I'm gonna do the big slash after 3 AI, like this. 3 AI, 1, 2, 3. Now that the big heavy attack is ready, I'm gonna do it. See how she gets 1 stack of this? So she starts with 1 stack from her inherent skill. Whenever she's out of combat, you always get 1 stack head start. And then you get 1 more stack when you do the big arc slash. So with this design, if you tap ultimate, it will not consume any stack. But if you have 3 stacks and you use ultimate, it's going to consume all the stacks. So it's good to keep this gimmick in mind if you're planning your damage with modes like Tower or Wiwa, where you want to leave the big stacks for the bigger waves. And when you have 3 full stacks, when you use ultimate, she's going to consume all 3 at once. So pay attention to it. TLDR, hold ultimate to spend the stacks. Tap ultimate if you don't want to spend stacks when you have 2 stacks or lower. Some other information, if you're going to use Lene on the team, make sure to set Lene to Tune Rupture, the one on the left up here. And then the reason why Chisa is really good for HIYUKI is because HIYUKI has some samurai magic here that changes all debuffs and also havoc buffs into her own special glacial kind of buff. That's why HIYUKI is good here. You can read it out on your own. It's actually quite a mouthful. And also, most of her attacks will apply Glacial Shave, which is the glacial debuff you see on the enemy here. So whenever they have 10 stacks and you use your EI or ultimate, it's gonna freeze them for 2 seconds. She's gonna consume all the stacks. And the good thing about Chisa here is that Chisa will extend the cap limit of the stacks due to her outro, making it hit even harder, like twice the amount. Now that's it for a moveset. Very simple when it comes to rotation and very technical when you want to play her with style, with all that EI counter and stuff, and EI slash slow-mo, everything. And now let's talk about her echo. You're gonna be using Voidborn Construct for the 4 cost, and it's gonna be the Quiet Snowfall set, Wishes of Quiet Snowfall, 4-3-3-1-1 combo. And then for the 4 cost, crit damage or crit rate depending on your ratio, 1:2. And then for 3 costs, you can go Glacial and attack, or double Glacial or double attack. Most ideally will be Glacial and attack, but it only edges out by a little bit. And then for 1 cost, usual attack percentage. Energy regen you want to look out for HIYUKI would be minimum 120%. And for the substats to look out for, you want to go for double crit, followed by attack percentage, followed by liberation, followed by flat attack and everything else. For skill leveling priority, you want to max out Forte circuit, Resonance Liberation, and Normal Attack. These three make up most of her damage. Signature weapon-wise, it's obviously the best for her. If you can't get this or don't have this for any reason at all, you can also use Chang-Li's weapon or Emerald of Genesis or the new BP weapon. Now, sequences-wise, starting with S1. S1, the highlight would be more damage in most of your basic attack and dodge counter. And now the third combo during her Snow Ultimate form will have a small pull effect. It only affects small enemies, and the 4th and 5th combo will be immune to interruptions. So S1 is referring to this. The third hit combo is gonna pull enemies. So 1, 2. See how it's pulled now? And then the 4th and 5th hit will have immune to interruption. Like that. So they can't stop you anymore. See how it pulls all of them? Alright, so S2 is a really good stopping point for quality of life changes. It basically changes her inherent skill 2. So, inherent skill 2, the original effect is that whenever she's out of combat for 4 seconds, it's gonna give her 1 point of Snowforged Blade. Snowforged Blade is that 1 stack of thing that ultimate uses. The big ultimate, it consumes 1 stack after you do her enhanced heavy attack. So now it's gonna give her 3 points whenever she's out of combat. So you will do her full potential ultimate damage every time, the first time you use it. And the next effect is that when she's out of combat in her ultimate form, she's gonna get 3 points of Frost Hardened EI. So this one, when you do EI Slash, the dash attack, it's gonna apply 3 stacks of Glacial Shave and also 1 stack of Whiteout Bitter Frost. And also gonna reset the 2 charges of a cooldown for her E skill. And also, whenever you do her E skill, each hit is gonna give 50 extra points of her gauge. So it's gonna look something like this. So I'm in her ultimate form and I'm out of combat. Notice how I have 3 stacks of the Frostbitten EI and 3 stacks of the Snowforge. And then now if I do her E skill, see how much gauge it gives? So in a combat setting, easily you will get full gauge after doing her 2 E skill. Alright, so now S2 effect will have a different opener, only for the opener. After you switch her out from her big ultimate, everything remains the same from the old rotation. So for the S2 rotation, once HIYUKI goes into her first ultimate, you just need to press E skill, Resonance skill twice and her gauge will be full, and then you can go straight into 3 EI dashes. And then you follow up with a full 5-hit combo basic attack and then do 1 more extra EI before you wrap everything up. Okay, first things first, Chisa again. And then Lineage in. Three jumps. Now HIYUKI in. Same thing. 1 basic. And then whole basic. Go into ultimate. And then 2 E skill. Straight away start EI dashing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 EI dash. Now you will do 1 more 5-hit combo chain. And then 1 more EI dash. Now heavy attack. And then ultimate. This is gonna be the full potential ultimate. And then that's her rotation. After that, you will follow the same old rotation now that all her first time battle buff is over. Now for S3, S3 is where damage becomes big boy damage. HIYUKI gains easier stacks of Snow Rust. Snow Rust, I'll talk about it later. And then more damage on her heavy attack forte. And also at 2 stacks of Snow Rust, even more of her personal glacial debuff damage is increased by 488%. So this is what Snow Rust does. So whenever somebody does a Glacial Shave or Havoc Bane, that's why Chisa is in a team. She gets 1 stack of Snow Rust and it stacks up to 3 times. So you can read this on your own. 1 stack of Snow Rust, she gets all this and then more damage amplification and crit damage is increased by 40%. All of these buff changes. So S3 is a huge change to her Snow Rust buff. And then S4 usual, just damage increase for a team and then some of HP healing. S5, her 2 charges of her Resonance skill is increased by 80%, just very small. And then S6 is another huge one. S6, both of her ultimate, the big and small ultimate, is increased by 500% for crit damage. TLDR is just a lot of damage. All of this will be happening in the background. All of this Snow Rust, you're just gonna do a lot of damage, like a 40% increase in overall damage. And most of all, the ultimate has an increase, absurd 500% crit damage. So my recommendation for her sequences is that you go S0, R1 first, followed by 2, S2, followed by S3, and then jump to 6. So S2 for convenience and a fast startup combo. and then 3 for big damage, and S6 for even bigger damage. Team composition wise, I'm sure you already know from the trial, it's Chisa, Linne, and HIYUKI for now. And don't forget to set Linne to Tune Rupture. If you don't have Chisa, then you can use the classic Mornier, Linne, HIYUKI combo. If you don't have Mornier, then of course you can use Shorekeeper, Linne, and HIYUKI. And or if you don't have Linne, you can also put Chisa. So it's pretty flexible. And if you don't have any of that, this is the ultimate cope team. Shorekeeper, Sanhua, and then HIYUKI. But yeah, that's the end of this crash course video for HIYUKI. Hopefully it has been helpful to you in understanding her kit. Very technical character, and at the same time very simple. They managed to balance these two fronts. Input wise for rotation, very simple, but then when it comes to technical combat, she has all these parries and all these in her arsenal. I also make other guides over here. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.